Hello again, my fellow readers. It has been a while since I last put ink to paper. However, today I felt compelled to do so. What subtle desire stirred my latent spirit from slumber, I know not. What I do know is that my writing flame burns brightly once more. Today I recall a bizarre tale that happened many years ago on my beautiful island, one of the many gems strung together like a necklace that forms the Caribbean islands. Brimington Estate lay upon a plateau that commanded stunning vistas of ocean and mountain. To the east of the main house was the view of Grenville and Telescope Bay, where the mighty Atlantic Ocean crashed endlessly against the shore. To the north lay my favorite site, Mirabeau Hospital, nestled amongst towering palm trees and lush vegetation, while below ran the largest river on the island. The great river carved its path through mountains and valleys on its journey toward destiny. Along its fertile banks grew nutmeg, cocoa, bananas, and countless fruits and vegetables. From the vantage point of the estate, one could look down upon scattered villages below, their colorful houses adding character to the evergreen landscape. The estate itself was comprised of nutmeg, citrus, mangoes, cocoa, spices, and vegetables. The land stretched all the way down to the river, traversing valleys and plains alike. The entrance to the house was a gravel road that wound past sleepy willow trees, standing like silent sentries on guard. Arriving at the house, one came face to face with the remnants of colonial opulence from a bygone era. The stately manor stood majestically upon the plateau, surrounded by landscaped gardens of roses and wildflowers. A manicured lawn carpeted the front yard, while mango, cherry, and coconut trees completed the picturesque setting. The estate had been built by Lord Brimington in 1825 and had once been immensely profitable. It remained in his family to this day, although the family itself had long since moved away. Dispensing now with the history and geography of the surroundings, we turn our attention to the main character of our tale, Molly. Molly was a tall, attractive mulatto woman who stood 5 feet 11 inches tall. She possessed legs that seemed to go on forever, merging into wide hips that swung with a hypnotic rhythm whenever she walked, commanding attention from both men and women alike. Her high cheekbones accentuated her straight nose and sensuous lips, which parted to reveal pearly white teeth. However, what God had blessed her with in beauty, He had neglected to grant her in manners. Molly believed the world belonged to her and that everyone else merely existed as supporting characters in her grand performance. She was arrogant and selfish, demanding to be the center of attention at all times. Now, with an attitude like that, one is bound to eventually meet either their match or their superior. It happened on an ordinary May afternoon in the year of our Lord, 1U78, 1 year before the Revolution. Molly had gone walking in the late afternoon with much on her mind. She had recently begun courting a handsome fellow who worked as the manager at Scotia Bank. At 26 years old, her boyfriend had proposed to her the previous evening over dinner. This did not surprise Molly in the slightest, for she considered herself God's gift to earth. What troubled her instead was deciding what style of dress she should wear and which member of her supporting cast would have the honor of serving as bridesmaid. Lost in thought, she collided with old Mother Lucy, knocking the basket from the elderly woman's head and sending its contents scattering across the road. "Oh, you stupid woman! Can't you watch where you're going?" Molly snapped condescendingly. "But my dear child, it was you who walked into me. Why must you be rude on top of it?" cried Mother Lucy. "I know you. You're that woman who practices all that mumbo-jumbo. People like you are the reason this country is backward. Now get out of my way and run along to your drums and dances," Molly declared arrogantly. Mother Lucy stood quietly, fire burning in her eyes. She looked deeply into Molly's face, and saw selfishness and entitlement lodged firmly within her spirit. My child, you should not mock what you know nothing of. Change your attitude, or it shall bring you many days of sorrow, Mother Lucy said softly. Woman, do you know who I am? Who are you to advise me? Look at you. Your head wrapped in cloth, your dress filthy, your face ugly. Why don't you crawl back into your hut and stay there? Molly shouted angrily. As she stormed away, she kicked the basket into a nearby drain filled with dirty water. The act brought a wicked smile to her face. Woman, you will wish this day had never happened, Mother Lucy cried after her. Mumbo jumbo, Molly mocked, laughing loudly as she strode away with her head held high. Mother Lucy silently gathered her belongings, pulling up the front of her skirt to create a temporary pouch. As she shuffled homeward, an evil grin spread slowly across her face. Once home, she busied herself preparing for a spell. From the yard, she seized a black cock and stuffed it into a sack. Then, she retrieved 3 black candles made from animal fat. Finally, from a wooden box in her bedroom, she removed strange herbs and the dried head of a serpent. Now, all she had to do was wait for midnight. Midnight found Mother Lucy standing naked within a circle of fowl blood before a massive silk cotton tree. The lifeless body of the cock lay against the trunk, while the 3 candles formed a V shape around her. Within a wooden bowl, she crushed the serpent's head together with the herbs and set them ablaze. As the scent of the burning mixture mingled with the thick odor of animal fat candles, the air itself grew heavy. Mother Lucy began chanting an incantation from deep within the pit of her stomach, her voice rising slowly into the darkness. Her pupils rolled upward until only the whites of her eyes remained visible. Soon, the charged atmosphere tore open the boundary between the physical and spiritual realms, and a hollow appeared within the trunk of the tree. From it stepped a man clad in red robes. His glowing crimson eyes pierced the darkness. Woman, what business have you with me? He asked. Great Basil, I have always served you faithfully. Today an arrogant woman mocked my beliefs and dishonored me, your servant, in the vilest manner. I ask you now to avenge your faithful servant's honor, Mother Lucy cried. Leave her to me. She is already pregnant, though she knows it not. When she gives birth, however, a strange child shall come forth. Now go and disturb me no more, Basil declared firmly. With that, he stepped backward into the hollow tree and vanished. 3 hours later, as Molly wandered peacefully through dreamland, her bedroom door creaked open. Basil entered silently and approached her bedside. Sitting beside her, he unbuttoned her nightgown, exposing her stomach. Placing one hand upon her flesh, he opened her womb without leaving a wound and blew a swirling green mist inside. Then he sealed her skin shut without so much as a mark and vanished into the night. 1 week later, Molly happily announced that she was pregnant and that the wedding would take place in 3 months' time. Everything seemed perfect. She had long forgotten her encounter with Mother Lucy. But Mother Lucy had not forgotten her. The wedding came, and it was spectacular. Molly looked radiant in her white dress, the small baby bump only adding to her glow. 6 months later, the child was ready for the world. The night her water broke, the pain came sharp and relentless. She screamed in agony without relief as she was rushed to the hospital. Push! Urged the nurse. Breathe deeply! Cried the doctor. Poor Molly pushed and screamed until finally a baby boy emerged. The doctor slapped the child lightly upon the buttocks. The baby snarled, then smiled. The doctor nearly dropped him. Quickly handing the infant to the nurse, he exited the room in visible shock. Never in all his years had he seen such a strange child. 3 days later, the couple brought the baby home. The child would bite savagely at Molly's nipples while nursing. He would cry the moment she tried to sleep, only to stare at her afterward with an evil smile. Whenever she carried him outside, animals either fled or made strange noises in his presence. At 6 months old, Molly placed the child upstairs for a nap before going downstairs to prepare lunch. Barely 5 minutes later, she turned around and froze. The baby sat calmly upon the couch downstairs, staring at her with a smile. "Oh my God! Didn't I leave you upstairs? How in heaven's name did you get down here?" She cried in confusion. But she kept the incident to herself. A week later, she awoke during the night and found the baby standing over her husband's chest, holding a pair of scissors. She snatched them away just in time. Soon, stranger things began happening. Dishes washed themselves. Food cooked itself and appeared upon the table without explanation. Objects moved on their own throughout the house. Molly knew the child was responsible. And at last, she remembered Mother Lucy's threat. Still, her pride forbade her from seeking forgiveness. Yet the pressure upon her grew unbearable, for she dared not tell anyone what was happening lest they think her insane. Then came the final horror. One night, Molly turned in her sleep and felt a sticky wetness beside her. Lighting the lamp, she saw her husband lying dead beside her, his throat slit open. Sitting upon his chest was the baby, smiling innocently while clutching a bloodied razor. The child vanished that same night and was never seen again. Molly was charged with the murder of her husband. She tried desperately to explain the truth to anyone who would listen, but no one believed her. She had treated too many people cruelly throughout her life for anyone to show sympathy. The jury returned a verdict of guilty for the murder of her husband. Because the baby's body was never found, she was not charged in relation to his disappearance. The judge sentenced her to life within a mental institution. During the American invasion of Grenada in 1 U-83, she was released amid the chaos caused by the bombing of the hospital. She returned alone to Brimington Estate, where she lived a lonely and isolated existence until her death 1 year ago, maintaining her innocence until her final breath. No one occupies the estate anymore. Well, no human does. For if you happen to pass by Brimington Estate on a full moon night around midnight, you may glimpse a strange baby sitting by the window, playing solitaire. Please, let us know where you're watching from, and if you have similar stories in your country.